Hey everyone, thanks for joining us tonight on Sharky Waters Wednesday Night Dive. We're hanging in there doing our best to keep the entertainment activities coming your way. Oh, geez, we've got a special guest here, David Lash, in the house. This stuff's all being brought to you in your hands and your devices by my good buddy Tor. Eric clocked up here in the house, keeping us in line and on time. We always do a little bit of housekeeping. Can we turn the volume down just a little bit on that stuff in here? Thanks. We always do a little bit of housekeeping. Shout out to the sponsors that keep us going and keep the entertainment flowing to you guys. That's Tipsy Tomato, our local corner bar with 4 pool tables there. They've got delicious pizzas. We're fans of the pizza. That's the meat one. They also got some good vegetarian ones. We're going to be putting in an order with them later tonight. They are like serving the community, so make sure everybody's doing their part in helping the local small businesses because they're hurting not being able to thrive off of their number one product, which is obviously the alcohol and quarters inside of the pool tables. But anyway, Clean Slate Pool Tables, that's me. I think I took my last day, I went and got as many pool tables done as I could, but I'm going to be participating in the stay-at-home order that we've been issued by our Governor Ainsley here in the state of Washington. We're pretty ground zero in that regard. We were the first people that, we were the first state to have a case confirmed of the COVID virus. Certainly we're like following suit behind the states like New York, Florida, and Illinois. So we're going to talk a little bit about that stuff and what it looks like for our lives to have changed and how we're handling that. We're going to talk about some things that we're doing here in the Sharky Waters set, individually with the crew, also collectively as an institution of goal for what we're working on. We're going to talk about things that we can do with the quarantine and things that we can do with the time that we're using to be exposed to all the information that's out there and how to handle that, how to process that. So with that said, I've noticed in the pool community there's a whole bunch of people that are starting to create live stream products out there. There's a whole bunch that's like people are clearly like stuck at home and putting their instruments together and getting out there and sharing their work. I don't even see that as like a competition to what we're doing. I'm like really happy for those guys. I'd like for you guys to reach out to us and see if we can even cross promote some of that stuff because I've got a lot of exposure on my personal feed to pool players all over the country. And I know a lot of the other people that are in the crew don't have that, but it's like really prevalent that there's a lot more live streams going on. And still, uniquely enough, I haven't seen anybody doing like the format that we do, where we're kind of trying to showcase local talent, take pool seriously, but also be able to like unpack the personalities that bring the game and bring the sport together. So big shout out to everybody who's doing that. I'm proud of everybody that's like, what we're trying to do is stay connected through the internet and through the network. Because if we're not allowed to be within 6 feet of each other, then the least we can do is like invite each other into our conversations and into our pool games. So thanks again for joining us. For anybody who's new, we do have a donate button that's in the links that you can click to. We also appreciate any like hits on the like buttons, the share buttons, the subscribe buttons on our YouTube channel. You can also go through and check out our guest David Lash's performance last season. What episode was that?
Episode 8, I believe.
8. So you can watch season 1, episode 8. Those are all archived on the YouTube page. And then lastly, a shout out to Harold Prine in Spokane. He's the guy who put together this Optimus Prime custom carbon fiber shaft that I shoot with here on the show. Big thanks for letting me use that. So certainly appreciate it. It's a fine product. Anybody who's curious about the dimensions that he offers and the links and customizations that you can get with it, you can look at primecustomcues.com. So with that, let's talk about this drill that we were putting on. I was working on it, almost got through it. Did you get through it?
No. 10 tries. I don't think I got there.
And people who who aren't familiar with the show, we've got Eric in the background. He's keeping time. We've got a sander there, and when it runs out of time, that's what we call the open swim.
Yes, open swim is done.
After the open swim is done, David and I are going to be doing a race to 7 and 9 ball that we call the Shark Attack. David got me last time. Pretty good. I think it was 4 to 7.
Something like that. It was pretty close to that.
Yeah, 3 or 4 to 7. I'm hoping to bring a better performance this time.
So the object in this drill is to shoot them in order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, all in this corner pocket. It's not as easy as it looks. I've yet to ever complete this drill, and I just screwed up right off the start.
Let's take it from the top. I just want to take a second while David shoots that. Anybody who's watched David play knows he plays pretty good. There's like an element to being on this show that's hard to navigate and be your best pool player. And I'm not saying that in any ways to make excuses for myself. Just recognizing that there is like a different element of trying to.
There's definitely a different atmosphere compared to like a tournament or even the gambling, if you're gambling.
Sure.
So I'm not gonna make it, Dom, so.
I'm gonna give a big shout out to Pedro because I played him for a set to 5 and he beat me.
Pedro Vargas?
Yeah, and he's always wanted to be on the show and always hitting me up about coming on. That's probably about time that I invite him on and try and get my rematch out of him.
Go ahead, you give it a try.
All right, here I go.
I made it to the 3-ball.
Well, I can get past that, I'm certain.
He's certain, guys. So this is all about cue ball control.
And keeping in mind where you want to be. I want to be like somewhere around here.
It's almost the same thing I did.
Yeah, I did that the first time I tried to. I bumped the ball and I was like, is that allowed? It's always the question.
There's been a lot of local talent around that's been getting sponsorships.
Yeah, let's give a shout out to those guys. Daniel
Sardancelio.
Season 2. Episode 1, if anybody wants to watch that, Daniel just got sponsored by Littman Lights and OBQs.
Correct.
Pretty awesome. We're all really proud of that. And then
Cole Gibbons, I believe, just got a sponsorship. He's down in Portland.
Yeah, anybody who's like recognizing the people who are working hard in their pool game and stuff, Cole's name's definitely being thrown out there. I've never met him personally. I've like certainly seen him in the pool rooms and stuff on the sides. But big shout out to that guy and congratulations. And if you're ever in the area when this stuff blows over, then feel free to like come take up an invite to come be on the show as well. I'm gonna try. Oh, I did it again. I put too much on.
I have faith in you, Dom. You
I know,
can get
right?
it.
What'd you get? 2 tries? 3 tries?
Let's not count. Well, I did a whole bunch of tries before the show even came on, so let's not go there.
Don't. I mean, you're here offset a bunch, and I think like I don't do a whole lot of shooting. If it's like right before the show, I just kind of chill. And
just kind of go into it.
Yeah. That's not always the wise way, I don't think. But again, I'm like,
well, I mean, you have
trying to play. I'm trying to like prep my mind for the conversation that we'll have.
I mean, normally, you're just getting done with a long day's work.
Yep.
And you got to like decompress from that.
Yep.
You know.
I did do, like I said, I finished up the last little bit of work today. That I'm going to be able to squeeze in. For people who don't know, our governor on Monday announced stay-at-home, what they call shelter-in-place order, which is where if you're not considered an essential worker, you're ordered to stay home.
Do they have a list? Oh my Lord, I did the same thing.
They do. They have a list, and it's like super broad spectrum. I actually have a company called Mover Specialty Solutions. And it's a giant corporation that handles and orchestrates big moves for high clientele. And
right.
Just do the pool table part of it.
Go ahead.
And so they actually contacted me, and they've got some big wig who's just moved into the Seattle area, and he needs his pool table put together on the 6th. And according to the governor's orders, we'll still be under the orders of the stay-at-home. And so I had explained that to them, and then they sent me some paperwork. They were like, here, this is this, and this will, validate you for anybody who pulls you over to any authority that you're essential. And I'm like, half of me is like, really? Like building the pool table is essential? And the other half of me, you guys know, I work for myself. Shout out, Clean Slate Pool Tables. If you guys need pool table work, hit me up, give me a call, contact me through emails. I'm like happy to talk to you about the ins and outs of like what is available to have done and what isn't available to have done. But I'm like working for myself, so it's hard to turn that stuff down. It's hard to say no to them.
Right.
So I put it on the calendar, and I'm like just like a lot of the other people, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers on the show, I'm like playing this thing by ear. This news cycle is like by the hour lately. I mean,
right.
We're used to being sensationalized by the Kardashians or, you know, whatever these like mainstream flashy news, you know, Britney
Right.
Spears actually was in the news this morning for some like pretty communistic talk. If you guys should, like quoted some Marxist stuff out there talking about redistributing the wealth. But weird, what is getting allowance to make the headline news and what isn't, like weird flex on the media that all of a sudden they're going to start talking about what Britney Spears is thinking about, the economic structure. Of course, we got our like stimulus packages signed today. You know, everybody, if you're a tax-paying American, you're going to get $1,200, and if you're a married one or a couple, then you'll get $2,400. You get $500 per kid. There's a lot of dialogues like in and out of like what people are doing with that cash. And
Hold on. Let me get this straight. So if I was married, then I would get $2,400, or me and my partner total.
you got it. You and your partner total. So
That's the same as not being married.
you got it. And it's funny how they're so poignant and precise about labeling it in that way, because in every literature that you read about and try and investigate into it, that is like the exact verbiage that they word it. That you will get $2,400 per couple or $1,200 per adult and $500 per child.
So that's a
Now
little.
that's not coming tomorrow, everybody. Don't go getting
when-
all hopped up and, you know, flocking.
When does that come into effect?
It's like 60 days from now. I
Yeah.
think,
But
at
I mean,
least.
you're right. They're projecting maybe in May.
In May.
Yeah.
So beginning of May, end of May.
I'll take a quick second to the people who like are on the edges of their seats watching the talking heads on TV talking about relief because they are not at work and they're
Oh, my
anxious
Lord.
about like when some financial relief is coming. Like, you're not alone. You know, that stuff is like happening with a lot of people. And
I can't shoot now.
we
You
always
got
talk
me
about,
all
like, I just got him
confungled.
on tilt. This is the idea, was to get David on tilt. And the fear
I'm on
factor.
tilt.
I want to talk about some conspiracy theories behind this, because I'm saying there's no way that everything that's going on in the world is all of the severity of the things that are happening economically and politically, that all of that stuff is second page news to coronavirus. I think the coronavirus is a big deal.
For sure.
And I
No
think the precautions
doubt
are
about
warranted.
it. No doubt about it. I know that you and I were talking about like the oil war.
Dude.
You know, the oil war, that's happening. Gas prices are dropping, and Saudi Arabia and China and Russia are staging a economic coup against America's position of power through the oil industry. That like is happening, if you care to look into those things.
You guys just gave me my education on this yesterday. Because I didn't even know it was happening.
And look here, I think here's the point. Is like this, if the media is good at anything in the year 2020, the media is really good at distracting people from something else.
Yeah.
We're not good at citing our sources. We're not good at making sure we've got the correct information the first time. We're just simply good at entertaining and distracting our entire nation with information.
I've got a lineup of memes like on deck in my phone that is a wheel, and it says wheel of distraction. It has an arrow pointed to it, and I have like one of each one, but it says like celebrity, tragedy, like good feel good story. There's like 4 or 5 of them, but it's like what the media does, and you can just kind of spin that wheel, and it's like the sensationalism that comes behind it. Again, not trying to diminish the importance of how big of a deal it is, the virus and the economical implications behind it, and you know all of that stuff. But
It's distracting people from an election right now. They have the power to influence this stuff.
right,
And instead, everyone's like making frantic grocery store runs and feeling like their internet's gonna get cut off and stuff. Man, I'm not saying to not be concerned and to not be prepared, but man, the like fear is at an all-time high, and like half of the stuff that I've heard has not come true when it said it was gonna come true.
right. There's some type of like measurement between the height of the fear being and like some connectivity to the height of the misinformation that's out there, you know, and that we may not know what the truth is. We may not ever know the origins or the provenance of the coronavirus. We may never find that out. That may be something that they write about in history books after we're all long and gone, you know. But what we can know is like our stances on all the things that aren't the coronavirus and how we would want that to be navigated if there were or if there weren't a coronavirus around.
So in your guys' opinion, how long do you think this could last?
Well, statistically, you know, we had Sean on last week, and off camera, I think for whatever reason he chose to not dive into a lot of those stats. But for anybody who knows Sean, that guy's like a walking computer, and he just has a tremendous amount of data in his head. And if you are paying attention and listening to that data, and if you're looking at the curves that France had experienced and the curves that China had, if you're looking at the actions that South Korea had, which they were very successful in navigating their outbreaks with the virus, that there's some looks, and then you also have to look at how many ventilators they had. You know, the governor of New York just tore Trump an asshole yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he, like on public television, was telling the president, like, you come here and you choose which 26,000 people have to die. You sent me 4,000 ventilators. What am I supposed to do with that? I've got 40,000. He's got like 26,000 people, you know.
Oh, I hit that one hard.
Way more people struggling, and it's like just not helpful. And so you got the numbers of what the hospitals need, the numbers that create the boundaries of the hospital capacities. And then you got a whole nother set of numbers that create boundaries on the economic stress of the system. And those two are kind of attached, because when the hospitals get full, the economy goes down. And so, but when the economy goes down, we have to have enough economy, because we're in a capitalistic system, to be able to siphon funds and resources into the system that needs help to empty out the hospital beds. When the hospital beds are emptied out, if you look at the statistics that they're studying the virus and how long it survives on hard surfaces and how easily it's transmittable, and that it's transmittable through air, that the likelihood of us getting to the bottom threshold of the economic structure and then filling up the hospitals, putting a hold on us on the inside, alleviates the stress of the hospitals, but then puts the stress on the economic system. And so once the hospitals empty out, they'll let us back out, and we'll go back out, and that'll ease the stresses off the economic system. But with the longevity of the survival rate of the virus itself, we are likely all going to wind up having outbreaks all over again, probably for the duration of like several months. We may be looking at like a new poised system of how reality works. We may have great grandchildren that ask us about what was it like when you had a 40-day work week. They might, and then we'll say, well, it was really crazy, and it was hard, and it was brutal on us emotionally, and a lot of us bonded together at dive bars at the end of the day, and we consumed a lot of alcohol to cope through it. And when we changed that, it was a virus that changed it, and we all like kind of got sick socially, and it was real weird for all of us. But nowadays, it's kind of nice for us to be able to have 4 weeks off and then just go work for 4 weeks. That could be the new system. Right. I don't know. We're thinking like way out of the box, open-minded perspectives.
Where do I sign up for that?
Do you want to give this?
Right here at your
4 weeks off.
Right here at your shelter-in-place state. You know.
You want to give this one more try, Dom, and then I'll rack some up?
I misunderstood. I thought we were all talking about going to a dive bar after this. And then I realized all the dive bars are closed.
Have you been social distancing for too long?
Same amount of time as you, I think. Yeah, I just want to go over too for anybody who's edgy on the social distancing, and I have seen, shout out to Brian Trudeau, who tried to put together, try to piece together what glue of the community could through his little tournaments on Tuesdays, had taken a lot of heat whenever this stuff had come out, that having the tournaments were too high liability for the situation and the parameters, and that he should not do it. And there's like two camps. There were some people, shout out to Secret Wong, who she had come out and had like a real tasteful response that was like, look, we're all in a real stressful situation, and some of us are coping in our own ways, and let us do that. And if that means, judging the liabilities against of your physical health and being out and about, and the liabilities of spreading the virus out and about versus your mental capacities falling apart and diminishing while you're at home with your family and your loved ones. Like, no one wants to see like mental breakdown. So if pool is your avenue to maintain that sanity, then, you know, I don't necessarily blame people for going out and trying to mingle together and get together and play on a pool table. I know you went at one point, but stayed and then left early,
Right.
because of the feelings behind it. I went yesterday and, you know, ran into Pedro. And I like wound up leaving early too, and it's just like kind of a weird feeling in the air. We're super blessed and like privileged to be able to have the table here at the Sharky Waters studio to be able to play on every day.
Right.
But not everybody has that. Big shout out to everybody who's struggling, and even just watching the show to watch us roll balls on a drill because you're so, you know, missing the game so much. But there's, you know, you put all of that stuff together, and the time frame that we may be stuck in this routine, and if we get eased out of it and then put back on lockdown, and the election and the oil prices, and the fact that at the end of World War II, 120 of the world's most powerful countries signed an agreement to sell barrels of oil under the US dollar because the US economy was the economy that pulled those 120 countries out of the war. And they all had faith in it that for the first
I'll wrap
time,
them up for you.
for the first time in several years, Saudi Arabia, Russia, and China are not following that treaty. And so it looks like we're in the midst of a giant economic structure change on a global level. And while we're literally just rats on the rats floor of a system, of a machine, that is happening. And I don't really know what the implications on that are in the long term, but I suspect that we may be like in the midst of like a real world war.
So that's why it's so cheap to go fill up your car right now.
It's not even hit the bottom. It's not even close to getting to as low as it could possibly go if the parameters of the systems that we're talking about continue to press on their what's the word I'm looking for, leverages that they have.
I mean, isn't the markup on gasoline like in the 100, you know, over 100% markup or something like that? I mean, it would take it going down below $1 to get close to the point where it was not profitable anymore, which I think was what it would take for that bubble to burst, right?
You know, there's a lot to unpack there with the profitability of the product itself, which I'm sure it has like an extremely huge cost to produce and refine. You know what I mean? It doesn't just come out of the ground ready to go into your car. But at the same time, like petroleum is used for like, you know, rubber dinosaurs that kids play with, and the plastic case that you carry your equipment around in, or it's all kinds of stuff. We're like very, very much still a petroleum-based society, no matter how much you work on your carbon footprint. And because of that, and the global economy and the American market, the way it's structured and the way we're responsible for upfloating the global economy, we give huge subsidies to oil companies. And so we're giving a whole lot of money for those companies to stay successful. And if these other foreign powers drive the price down to the ground, then they can't stay successful even with our subsidies. So it's almost like two bullets in one shot, where they're sending a bullet into the finances of the government's intentions to keep the market afloat, and then they're also taking one shot off the bow directly to the market itself.
Gotcha.
Does all that make sense? Maybe just, I don't know, maybe to some people.
To me it does, but to some people it probably doesn't.
Well, I just don't think that's certainly not what they're putting on the mainstream on the news. What they are showing you on the news is that Harvey Weinstein got coronavirus, so we suspect. But we all know that he's just going to get Epsteined.
You made a ball.
You know what I mean? I mean, we don't know that, but there's certainly like a whole nother arena of dialogue that people are investigating into. Like, things are so bizarre and so weird and so unsuspecting from what we consider everyday norm that anything radical can become possible. But we also have to remember that when I say we, I'm talking about the people in this room, and predominantly the fans on the show. We are all mostly American. We do have a global reach out, and we do have a handful of fans like outside of America.
Right.
But we have like a pretty America attitude, and I think that's kind of creating some some blinders on us and some blind spots for us to see these things that are actually happening right under our noses.
Yeah.
You know.
So what's something that you feel like you're gonna miss the most with this stay-at-home?
It's a good question.
I miss my gym, man. My workout routine is not tight right now.
Yeah. I'm pretty dependent on the workout routine to jumpstart my morning, and without that jumpstart, I like have a real sluggish start.
Same.
I think that's looking like me trying to force implement some workout routine in the morning here, doing some push-ups and sit-ups and getting what they call prison fit.
Are you going to make a routine for the stay-at-home?
Me? I am. Yeah, absolutely. My routine for staying at home is actually going to be really polished to the same of like my routine outside of the quarantine scenario. We'll just call it the quarantine for lack of better word. I don't know why they call it shelter in place. I was on the phone with a buddy of mine from Texas, and they call it something else over there. It's like a placement order is I think what they call it. And he was like, yeah, they're just trying to soften up the words, how it sounds. But and Tor and I were talking about this. There's a lecture that Jordan Peterson put on called Clean Your Room, and our buddy Nathan, former guest on the show, is talking a lot about it, and it's basically a metaphor for it's like a metaphor and then not. It's like directly, also literally an analysis of cleaning your room.
Yeah.
And your room being your life, and your room being like your goals and your intentions on progressing and all of that stuff. And with the news, I've got a lot of friends who are like, for lack of better words, alertists, alarmists, and they inundate me with some data on all the things that they've read and all the things that they heard, and they want to tell me what I think because they appreciate how I think, and I appreciate that. But what I don't appreciate is the earliness in the morning of it before I've had a chance to have my morning routine and process my day and do my meditations, because then I just feel on tilt in the morning. So I've had to struggle with getting through that little bit of on tilt to really start analyzing what I need to do, because some of this information that comes in makes me want to react immediately.
Right.
A fear-based reaction is going to be a quick response. It's not going to be a logical, slow, thought-out response. You have to bring your intelligence to the table in that moment, and you have to stop and analyze and think about it. And then more often than not, my actions that were necessary in the moment, even considering these extreme radical bits of news and data that were coming in, was still for me to just do my daily routine.
Right.
And so even on lockdown, my daily routine looks like polishing up the finances of my business in the office, which is always hard for me to do because I'm a one-man operation.
Right.
And to be able to do you're talking to the janitor and the manager and the scheduler and the guy who pulls the screws out when they break and all of that stuff, that it's just a lot of work, and I've got a lot of catch up to do in that. I've also got some restructuring to do with the layout of the house with my son's room, and he's got a shit ton of fucking Nerf guns, and I've been thinking we probably all need to go buy our Nerf goggles.
Nerf goggles and do a
indoor
Nerf war
battle, full 3 stories with him, and but I was gonna mount his arsenal on the wall, make it, apocalypse ready, so that he could pick out which weapons and stuff.
There's some stuff you can get done during this time that can
tons of stuff
help you in the long run. It just kind of sucks that we're
at the very bottom of my list is pull out the refrigerator and clean the floor under there. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of stuff I've got on my list before that, and I'm feeling like everyone else does too. And so I want to encourage everybody to stay positive and stay motivated and keep up with those little tiny things that you've been able to get to around your house and around your personal life. That work has put you in a place that you haven't been able to get to. Your personal life is important. Your family is important. And spending time with these people is important. It's vital. And this is an opportunity for us to really take a break. And if we take the time to exercise our intelligence and put our anxieties aside, we're really getting an opportunity to just take a break from all of that.
Kind of goes to the quote for the day.
Yeah. Never be afraid to sit a while and think. That was a great quote. How'd you come up with that one?
Found it in your little book a couple months ago. I was just sitting there reading it on the show, and it caught my eye, and I took a picture of it.
That book, I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned it on the show, but I know we've referenced to it, but we pulled the quotes mostly, for the most part, off of Phil Chappelle's A Mind for Pool, which is a great book. It's one of the books that I read when I was real young. Phil Chappelle's actually like remarkably accessible. It appears on the internet through Facebook. He's always watching the modern games of the best players and then analyzing them with his own like in-depth mind, and then even drawing diagrams and charts on what he thought about it, and then putting that stuff out there and responding to people's thoughts about it. So if anybody ever like tags Phil, or if we ever get his eye on the show, like thanks for the mental fortitude and gains that we had from reading that book, and also like a dream guest to be on the show someday. I got to imagine he still plays every once in a while, right?
I mean, nobody really gives up pool, do they? Completely?
Yeah, I don't know if it's one of those things that you do like that, you know?
I mean, I haven't been able to. Have you?
The only time I gave up pool, and I wouldn't even consider it giving up, but I like turned my back on it, was when I was captaining sailboats in Hawaii. There's about 3 years of my life that I didn't play
missed
pool,
that ball.
but I was like more out at sea than I was like on a place where.
Did you ever think of like putting a pool table on a boat?
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who've talked about that. There's even some boats on cruise ships and stuff, and I've never seen one that have the gyros on them, but they do have those. They're like software programs so that when the boat rocks, that the playing field stays there, and so it's real weird. It's like short and tall, like while you're playing it.
I've been at bars that
feel like
that,
but I have done a pool table in the belly of the Emerald Queen cruise ship that parks in downtown Seattle. And it was in the, like I say, in the belly of the boat, because it was down in the galleys where the crew eat. It was like in the mess hall.
Yeah.
And it was literally like on the side of the boat, so that it like literally did move around. And it wasn't a type of table that had like a gyroscope on it or anything like that. And when you ask them like, what about in rough seas? They're like, yeah, we just play it. They move around. All's fair play. But they're like still playing.
That'd be fun.
But a lot of those people on that boat working on those jobs in the cruises and stuff are Filipinos, and like as you know, they're like
Filipinos can play anywhere.
Yeah, they love pool, and they're familiar with playing pool under any conditions, and like poor conditions isn't going to stop their passion from playing.
Right. I mean, they could be in the middle of a flood and they'd be at the pool hall.
Reminds me of my Norwegian friends that play basketball in Oslo, and it's like full of snow 9 months out of the year, and they're like, yeah, it's icy, you just don't drive to the left sometimes. If this year it's got a big patch of ice there, and it's a lot of jump shots, and that's how we play.
That's amazing.
You just like, even though the conditions are insane, like you still want to do it.
Yeah. There's a picture of some, you assume somewhere in Africa or something, kids playing on a pool table made of clay, and it's all lumpy and weird and stuff like that. And I posted a picture of it years and years ago when it first came out, and it's like now one of those things that circulates around.
He's got corona. You see the cough?
Clark was like...
Didn't cough into his elbow either.
6 feet.
I tried, yeah. That, Clark had posted on there, and the rumor is you do not want to play with those guys for money. You know that they're passionate about
Don't worry,
their
guys.
game.
Before he touches anything else, we have sanitary wipes.
Yeah, let me get some of those.
Good call. For safety.
For safety. Truth be told, though, my cough comes from our indulgence in the cannabis culture here in the state of Washington, not in our corona culture.
Deemed, what was it? Deemed essential.
Deemed essential. Let's talk about that for some of the people who are not in state with us.
Bars not deemed essential, but cannabis dispensaries deemed essential.
Now, if you go back to season 1, episode Jay Bernberg.
Episode Jay Bernberg.
I want to say 5, but
It's pretty close up to
early.
4 or 5.
Yeah, it was like 5. I think it was 5. It was pretty early. But he's our one of our local cannabis criminality lawyers that we had on the show.
11.
Season 1, episode 11. That he had come on and explained to us that, and Tor and I were talking about this earlier, that one of the reasons why it's deemed essential is because that was piggybacked on our legalities of marijuana being legal in our state was piggybacked off of the needs of it being medical for pain and suffering for people with cancer. And so in that sense, the medicine is essential to everybody. It's like not a running joke. It's just something that happened. But it's also the same literature of law that prevents us from ever being able to have weed lounges where you can go and enjoy a joint and smoke weed and watch a sports game or something in a public venue. We won't ever be able to do that because it's because of how the nuances of how the law was written in together.
Well, I mean, never say never.
True. It was also mentioned in that episode that it was more going to be about us decriminalizing it on a federal level.
Yeah.
That was going to be the path to success. I was in
a dispensary in not far from Bremerton where they had a map, an updated map where they were painting all the states, 3 different shades of green they had for if it was decriminalized, if it was medical, or if it was fully recreational. And there was only like 7 states that didn't have one of those green colors on it. And, you know, you imagine most of them it was just decriminalization. You still can't legally get the substance. But it makes you feel like hope for the federal level. You know what I'm saying? At that point, if all 50 states have decriminalized it, like what's left for the... I mean, maybe this is a better question for Jay, right? But if every state decriminalizes something, what can the federal level still do?
Yeah, I wonder if that is like an enactment of its own, that all 50 unanimously sign off on one thing that makes it federal law. Seems like it would be appropriate to do that.
I just don't know how that stuff works.
It would just be international transporting at that point, right? Then they wouldn't have anything. They couldn't do anything in the States, but if you cross over into if you cross
borders,
Canada or Mexico,
if you cross into the U.S. national border with drugs, then it still could be a federal thing.
I'm thinking like some situations of that is, I think like Norway to Sweden border. A lot of Norwegians go by because the taxes and the alcohol limit are different on the other side of the border, and then of course it's legal to have it wherever, and so you just drive a little bit farther to go to the Swedish liquor store. That's probably
shut down.
I mean, we're already seeing that with like a bunch of Canadians, right, coming down to Washington because we have dispensaries and they just have the
time for the crew
stuff.
Yeah, but they can't legally bring it back across the border with them home.
Correct.
Right? It's just, they have to consume it while they're here.
It's a good subject.
I think that's a good point. I know that now, as of now, we cannot cross our state borders into Oregon, but there was some benefits of being able to cross borders because Oregon doesn't have a sales tax. And so it's a real common thing that if you're going to buy a TV or a car or, some big ticket item, you can always go shop for it at Oregon and save a couple $100 on the taxes. Now you're supposed to report that. So this is not tax legal advice to do that. You're supposed to report that at the end of the year that you bought things out of state and then pay those taxes in Washington state for those afterwards at the end of the year. But it is a loophole that people do cross that border and go do those types of things. But go ahead.
I was gonna say I think at like the level you can get away with it is at like consumer electronics and stuff like that. If you buy a car or something or like,
of course you have to register.
Yeah, there's like systems that will come back to bite you.
Right.
But there is that gray area where you can go buy, I don't know, a jet ski maybe? That's an arbitrary example, but definitely a TV.
I think you might have to register a jet ski.
Yeah, jet ski you gotta register.
But doing like a full loop circle and taking a running jump at the same time, talking about what type of things would change federal law on like a sweeping level. Going back the full circle to the coronavirus, if anybody did like read through the details of the first bill that was initially tried to be passed for the stimulus packet of the lower classes to be able to have some money during these hard times, that it got declined by the Democratic Party, and there's a whole lot of finger pointing that the Democratic Party doesn't care about the people who need the money, and that the Republicans were trying to spend all of the money on the corporations. But what's really interesting, and I haven't read through on the one that did get enacted, but this is on the bill that got turned down, that they were going to switch over to the government to a centralized digital coin. So anybody who's following Bitcoin or any cryptocurrencies, those people are getting really excited, and you're seeing some subtle spikes in the cryptocurrency markets as you're seeing the drops in the stock markets. Now the bill was stating that they were going to transition post offices into centralized banking systems for the government. And so if you think about how the post office system works and how Benjamin Franklin structured that there's post office buildings in almost nearly every municipality and every section, and they're almost always made out of concrete, and they always have like very little windows. It's almost as if they were like double engineered for like apocalyptic times to have like a base of operations on a localized level for the government. And so it would make sense that they use those as physical asset places. Tor and I were also talking about banking structures, and banking's going away. There's like 3 or 4 banks on South Tacoma Way that are no longer banks anymore. Those buildings are for sale because banking is all going digital. Right. And so this weird way of like, if they were about to switch post offices into banks and then try and compete with the banking system, for one, I don't even know how to unpack that and what that means for the government to try and compete with the banking system on a financial level. But I mean, I do, but it's like too much to talk about now. But my point is that we are like really in the midst of a time that whenever we get to come out of our homes and whenever we get to come out of our little shells and our hiding places with everyone hoarded up with toilet paper and guns, I hope that we get a chance to know each other better, to learn each other's names, to learn each other's hobbies and dreams and passions and what it looks like for that person who is your neighbor to have a beautiful world. Because this is something that is big enough to broad stroke change all across the world on a federal level. It's happening right under our noses. And so we're fabricating a future for ourselves. And I just want to remind everybody, as we're out of sand on the time and we got to switch over the crew match, that this is a perfect opportunity for us to fabricate the world that we all want. So thanks for joining us, and thanks for sharing the time to be able to enjoy this game and the people who play it.
Speaking of learning more about the people in here, David Lash, apparently you have an L dance. Daniel wants you to do the L dance.
Daniel probably wants me to do the Fortnite dance. I'm not a Fortnite player. I play PUBG. So if he would like an L dance,
give it to him.
You got to get on Fortnite, bro. I'm sorry.
Let's bring Fortnite to Sharky Waters tonight. Show us this L dance.
It's not going to be with my dance moves. I'm sorry.
I'm going to, hold on. Let me just say it there. If Daniel's still in there, I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on this for him. Not even for a congratulations on his new OB sponsorship. You can't pull that off for him.
He should have went with Predator, man. I'm sorry. That's all I got. Solid. But congratulations, man. That's a huge step towards your goal. I know how much you've worked for it, and you definitely deserve it.
Weird flex.
So,
definitely a big congratulations to Daniel. We're going to take a short break here before we return with the crew match. Myself versus Eric, all of that and more when we return on Sharky Waters. The Night Dive. Dive.
Be loud? I can be loud. No problem with that. Did you guys do the flip yet? Oh no, you guys are doing it right now.
Ready, good, sir.
Crown.
Boots.
So who won the flip, guys?
Eric.
Eric won the flip, so he's in a break now?
I'm gonna try. How do I switch?
It's auto fade. It's happening on the switcher. So you just press the number 1, 2, or 3, and it will change the cameras for you.
Makes sense now. Makes sense.
Introduce yourself so people know who's talking.
Oh, by the way, this is David, commentating the crew match. Eric, what's your record? Do you know?
No, we don't really.
Undefeated.
Yeah, undefeated since Thursday of last week.
Since undefeated since Monster Jam '97. WrestleMania was the one.
Uh-oh, Eric might have had a dry break there. Let's see. Fortunately, Tor's hooked, so he's going to have to push here. Or he could kick at it. It's up to him. He has the option. But if he does decide to push, that would mean Eric has the option to take the shot or give it back to Tor.
That's true. Don't forget
All right, guys. Looks like he's kicking at it. He didn't call push. Kicks at it.
Cool. Did it touch?
I cannot tell if that was a good hit or not.
It's frozen.
It's frozen, so that's a good hit.
All right.
Good shot, Tor.
Boom.
So the crew decided they want to play a little bit of hacky sack.
Practicing for the L dance.
You hear that, Daniel? He's practicing for the L dance. Eric tries to cut the one end. Barely misses. Tor's a little pumped right now.
For a second, I need you to make sure this mic is on.
Oh yeah, grab the one off the floor.
Sorry there. Tor was in the middle of a shot. Now, this is Dom here in the commentary booth. I just want to make sure that the mic was turned on, and there's so many buttons that I don't even know which one is what. We're likely to turn this whole show off and hit the power off button for you guys' live stream if I'm not careful.
We wouldn't want to do that now, would we?
Yeah, I was noticing we got like a good amount of people watching. There's like 30-something people that were watching a second ago. Not to give pressure to these guys, but, you know, we're constantly, if you guys watch on the YouTube channel, the Sharky Waters YouTube channel, hit the like and subscribe button there, and you can go through and archive some of the battles from these guys and some of the side commentary. It is pretty hilarious. But we are always joking around about not having the stats on who has the most games. But if anybody ever wanted to like do their research and watch those games with a notepad, we'd be curious to hear that stuff. Certainly, it's on my list of things to do. Maybe that's some of the stuff that I've got on my list to do while we're here on lockdown. Studying some other ones.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that Eric macheted himself.
Eric had an
day.
incredibly manly, super manly is how he described it. Episode with a brand new machete he bought at Fred Meyer's.
It was a weird, my only panic purchase of like, I don't know what's coming. I'm just gonna get this little machete.
He's over there telling us that it was his only panic purchase.
Need to like get through a jungle.
Yeah. What if all the landscapers aren't working and all the ivy gets overgrown?
Yeah, so let me just tell the guests for what happened here. Eric and I went and did some work on a pool table yesterday, and
Good shot there by Tor.
Upon those earnings, Eric went to go indulge himself at the Fred Meyer store, local here in Tacoma, and
That was the only indulgence.
and he,
Oh,
in the midst
Tor
of the panic,
barely missed
in
through
the
ball.
midst of the panic and the stress and the fear on the media, he thought he needed a machete. And I don't know if you guys know Eric. I know some of the people, certainly out of the people watching right now, probably do, but I do. And if you do, you know he doesn't know anything about machetes.
That's actually very true.
I think he learned that a machete's sharp.
No, I learned that the SOG sheath that comes with it is terrible. That's what I learned. I pulled on it to see how good it was. It was not the best idea, and it cut through its sheath and cut my fingers.
So the moral to this story here, and I think that this can apply to pool cues too, is
10% rule?
If you're gonna buy a nice pool cue, buy a nice cue case too, you know.
Always protected. I'm gonna make one out of leather.
A cheap ass sheath and a nice ass machete will equal a slice in your finger that has to be splinted with an old taco time fork.
Eric missed the 4-ball there.
Cut a fork in half.
And looks like he left Tor combo here on the 9-ball.
I'm gonna move that match brand.
I feel like
I did see that cut though. It's pretty bad on his finger.
I feel like Eric's Shark and Tor here with asking him if he wanted to move the magic rack.
If you could put it right in front of that corner pocket, that'd be great.
What finger did you cut open, Eric?
Middle finger and the ring finger.
Destined for singlehood.
But yeah, really the middle finger. No, I only would have.
Really, the middle finger, he said to that.
I only would have cut off the tip. I could still put a ring on that.
Yeah.
So any ladies out there that want to put a ring on it, it's still possible.
With just the tip?
Just the tip missing.
So after the coronavirus passes, I know that we've mentioned this before, but it's coming to me in more clarity now than ever that we are going to have a bachelor auction. We're going to auction off dates for the bachelors involved with Sharky Waters. That would be all of us.
Well, you guys heard it here first at Sharky Waters. Bachelor auction starts when?
I'm down for the calendar. Is Juanita still in the chat? She's a great photographer. We might be able to get her lined up.
She should be. Wow, I can't make a shot.
Tell her. Thanks again.
Eric says he can't make a shot, which is the same as last week. We hear the same excuse every time.
Looked like Tor was
Good
going
try.
for a little carom there. That was a good try.
All joking aside, the man is hurt, so we got to give him a little bit of room here.
Yeah, he still did a great job with the heavy lifting past couple days. Big shout out. There's a lot of people that wound up getting their pool tables this week because of Eric. One guy got his grandpa's table. How cool is that, right? I'm like, Jazz Man, shout out. Tor just said.
Always support the
Yeah, always supporting the show, man. I can't wait for you to come out here, man. I saw that one of your friends or family had volunteered your plane ticket, so let's try and book it whenever it's the flight. You know, we as taxpayers all just bailed out the airline companies, so we ought
Good
to
jump
get you a
there
nice
by
cheap
Eric.
ticket.
Made good contact.
And we mean what we say when we say you're welcome to come on. We'd love to have you. Jazzman's working at a weed dispensary. I think he's deemed essential as well. Yeah.
Colorado?
Yep.
For him and a couple others, Rachel and who was the
Rachel too. Yeah, Rachel. She's from Denver.
There's a third guy.
There's a couple.
that watches with them sometimes. Good people.
Super concerned about Casey, but he's been a little bit vocal out there, a little less than normal. I imagine he's doing some stress and juggling with the kids and stuff. Is he in there? Yeah, good to see him.
I want to say Tor is going to be playing a carom here. Let's look at
He's
it.
going for it again. Good try.
Oh.
Well,
Good
if you
effort
won
there.
points, if you got points for hitting the 9-ball after you hit the contact ball, then Tor'd have 2 points already.
Maybe more than that.
Maybe 3, maybe. I'm going to take a second to give a plug to Tor's Case of the Mondays. He's been doing a lot more work on the live streams for the music community because they've been on lockdown just like everybody else. We're all in this together.
Oh my lord, he missed the 6 so bad it goes 2 rails into the 9.
Can we just spot that?
This might be our official time for...
That's your win, man. That's solid.
It
Tor-
has been being lobbied for races to 2 in the crew match.
This might be the time.
Tor has
Want to race to 2?
Call it.
Send it.
Yeah.
Send it.
well, I mean,
100%.
if it's a race to 2, it's got to be winner's break. So whoever won that
No,
game
I
gets a
think it should
break.
Alternate breaks.
Crew match alternate breaks.
But you flip for the first break?
NBA rules.
Yeah.
If you win the tip.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
In the second quarter.
Yep. Yep, put them together. So, and some of the reasoning here is I was literally just plugging Tor and giving you a gratitude there, Tor, because I was saying that the music community is on lockdown, just like the pool community is. And similar to pool, there's a lot of music people out there that without public venues and without public access, that they don't have the access to their music making abilities the way they normally do. And so shout out to those guys, and a big thanks to you for keeping those people entertained with your live stream, Case of the Mondays, that you can check out. Free music lessons for your kids and your friends and your family at beatsbytour.com. You can check all of those, and on Facebook live stream, you can check them out at the Case of the Mondays page. Super beneficial. It's awesome. Tor is actually a teacher himself at the Tacoma School of the Arts, doing music production and songwriting. And so that's like an absolute valuable product that he's putting out there for everybody to have for free, especially if you guys got kids who are into music. I'm actually looking real forward to this Nerf battle with my kid. You know, shout out to all the parents stuck at the house with the kids.
Got a whole arsenal she can bring over.
That doesn't surprise me.
I feel like you should give yourself another shout out, Dom.
Me, myself?
Yeah.
Shout out to Dom.
Well, Clean Slate
Oh,
Billiards.
yeah, no, sorry.
Like,
Clean Slate Pool Tables, that's me. You guys give me a call. Contact me through Facebook or through my cell phone number. That's 253-737-7807, or through my business line. That's 253-205-8582. All of those numbers and all of those contacts lead directly to me. I am the call center. No, that's not going.
no, that one's not gonna go.
I am the call center, and I am also the director of operations. You'll have to speak to someone in the call center's department. They're not available right now.
I'm pretty sure you discontinued the complaint department.
No, but but seriously, to let you guys know what's going on in the pool world, Chicago shut down first. California shut down shortly after them, and Simonis Felt, as well as Aramith balls, they all ship directly into Chicago, and then Chicago disperses them out to the different distribution vendors from there. So I can buy cloth through California, or I can buy cloth through Chicago, or I can buy cloth through one of the avenues that is already buying through Chicago, similar to California. But because Chicago is shut down, and the warehouse facility that the pool table factory that is Billiard Wholesalers, that is the largest distribution vendor for billiard products in the nation, that they are out of business for the next 2 weeks. And so I put in one order for some felt and some materials to help get as much jobs done as we could within our time, and got them done. But now we're on lockdown. So with any luck to the pool community here, if people are wanting their tables done or wanting them worked on, you can give me a call, and as soon as one of those states opens up, I can order those materials. Even if we're still on lockdown, we can get those materials. So as soon as that we're not on lockdown, I can come out and do the work on the table. So
and you guys, you do sell pool tables, correct?
I do. I've got a handful of tables for sale. We just delivered one today to a customer who's like super happy that they got theirs before the last lockdown call. There's Tor going for a safety there. He went too soft.
A bit too soft. Tori says there's a lot of pressure there.
Well, I think what happened was Eric was explaining to him the nuances of that shot, and then Tor, being our resident rookie to the game, was giving it his best attempt for the very first time ever. And what that shot was it looked like what he had to do was kind of go around the three ball with some inside English and catch the cushion and put a reverse angle.
He had to create an angle.
Yeah, create the angle with the spin.
Well, I definitely think Tor should have been there yesterday when Eric decided to chop off his middle finger with a machete. Because I don't know if he's ever had to do that before. Eric needed Tor's guidance on that one.
I'm pretty sure with the logic that Tor brings to the table, he would have mentioned something about being careful about that.
Eric's starting to find his stroke, it looks like.
I saw that.
He's going to play a little bit of top here.
Oh, God, there it
the
goes.
6.
There it goes.
Shoot the 8 in the corner that he was just standing at.
He did. He caught a groove here. Give him. That's what he's been. Eric's been one of the loudest.
He's gonna miss this 8-ball though.
Loudest lobbyists.
Oh, he drilled it.
He's been one of the loudest lobbyist campaigns for the race to 2.
Where was the race to 2 last week?
No, this is the first time we've ever done a race to 2.
There he goes. Pulled one together. Nice run there.
Eric got the W.
Good job.
The best pool player of all time.
Well, I step up to the table only once in a blue moon, and it's usually to take a L. Unfortunately, David wouldn't do the dance associated with that letter, but that's why he's lower council still. All that and more when we return on Sharky Waters for the Shark Attack on the Night Dive. And we're back. Sharky Waters, the Night Dive. I'm your co-host and producer, Tor. I'm here in the commentary booth, joined by Eric, quote-unquote, Doc Okerlund. The Clock Doctor.
Yeah, the Clock Doc Okerlund.
I'm trying to bring in the nickname Doc. We're trying to call him Doc moving
Just straight
forward.
Doc. Hey, what's up, Doc?
I believe that's been taken.
Yeah, by a couple people, right?
I believe it's like colloquially an open enough nickname now that multiple people.
Well, it's
have it.
Back to the Future, and then what is it's Roger Rabbit?
No, Roger Rabbit didn't. It's Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny, thank you.
Yeah, but that's like, "What's up, Doc?" is
Elmer
like just a
Fudd?
phrase that he says. That's
What a
like he
break.
just
But he kinda
says
gives
that
it-
because that's like a cool thing to say.
Oh, you're right. I always thought he said that because he called the guy Doc, but he does that to everybody.
Yeah,
Does he
totally.
say-
He says
okay.
it to all the characters. I'm pretty sure.
100%. Okay, I'm on board.
1000%. So, unfortunately, now that we've got that out of the way, glad we got to the bottom of that. Unfortunately, our pro Shark Attack commentator Cassandra Bryant cannot be with us tonight. She is at home in fear of something. And no, I'm just joking. She's at
things,
home
maybe?
taking care of a lot of things, including young Logan. Shout out to Cassandra and Logan.
And her pool table in the basement. Or no, I'm thinking of Debbie. Does Cassandra have a pool table?
She does, but it's not put together.
She does, but it's not put together.
And normally she would be the one going through the rules of the Shark Attack, but Eric, I'm wondering if you know them all by heart. You've heard them a bunch of times now?
Yeah, I absolutely have. I mean, I've been here for 2 seasons. So let's see if I can repeat them. We have 9-ball race to 7, ball in hand.
So that's the second rule is ball in hand?
Ball in hand. Definitely.
You want me to help you out here?
Yes, please.
It is a 9-ball race to 7. They're going to lag for the break. Dom. Wait, who broke?
I was going to ask earlier.
Lash won the break, excuse me.
Of course.
We're in absolute hysteria here amid a global pandemic, and we're just holding it together by a thread, but we're staying on the air for you.
2, 6, and the 7.
Made the 2. Yeah.
We do this for we do this all for you, you fellow sharks out there, shark fans,
Big time.
shark fans.
And object of the
Gorgeous
game,
safe shot
of course.
there. Sorry, quickly. That was gorgeous safe shot. He hit him right behind the 9-ball.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Whoever gets 7 victories first is going to be the winner.
Lucky.
Combos, caroms, lucky shots, they're all good here. 3-foul rule is in effect. 3-foul rule, Eric, you want to run us by that?
Good hit.
Yeah, the 3-foul rule is if any player fouls twice in a row and then their opponent says out loud and calls you out on your second foul in a row, then if you foul a third time, that is a loss of game. So, but you have to call it out. So you have to be paying attention to actually make that happen. We've seen quite a few of those go by unnoticed over the weeks.
Yeah. Speaking of going by, that game went by very quickly.
Ooh, now it's done. With Lash taking the first win of the night match at 1-0.
Lash takes an early lead. It's always a great confidence boost to get the first one. Always interesting to see if there's going to be some momentum here, if they're keeping neck and neck.
Yeah,
Hard to tell what to expect.
Yeah, it's the kind of the first real opportunity that you get to like put some pressure on the other guy and let him know you're here to play, right? You deserve my respect, if you will. So let's play some pool. But these guys are both very good. Watch them play a lot, and they're fun to watch. And it's going to be a great match tonight.
Yeah, I think so as well. As the 5 goes down on the break, Lash is still up at the table.
Oh, Lord.
Gets a nice, lucky collision with the 6, putting it in the side pocket, which will keep him on the table, but I think he intended to pocket the 1 ball.
Justice.
Ooh, just misses out on that one. Hits the fins. It comes out. Dom's calling justice here. He's feeling it.
One of my favorite DJs as well. Big fan of Justice.
DJ Justice.
French house and electro duo.
Oui.
I believe Fred said something in chat.
Yes, Fred in the chat.
Fred, are you in the chat room? Shout out to Fred and the Tipsy Tomato.
Put on Army.
If you're in the
Fred Vetters has joined.
If you're in the chat room, Fred, say what's up.
Oh, they're shutting down due to the orders. Shutting down the to-go orders. But y'all want some pizza after the show tonight. And that is an absolute 100% yes.
Yes.
Please. We'll take our usual.
Good try, David.
And we will be there after the show. We can't wait. Tipsy Tomato Pizza. It's the best.
Wait, are we actually going to go to the Tipsy Tomato?
They're doing delivery, Eric.
Okay, well, way to ruin the illusion there. You could have just left it hanging and it would have happened. And
you got me even, man. I thought, I was like, is this really happening? Are we going to get in trouble? Are the police going to be there?
I don't think the police are in on it yet.
The secret the speakeasy pizza.
Just the whole you're not allowed to do that thing.
Speakeasy pizza.
We'll have to save that for another open swim. It's a big.
Because and I'm not trying to advocate anyone's actions here, but
the police haven't said don't get within people. The talking heads on the TV have. You know, the police are like still doing policing.
Well, I have
They're out
noticed
there.
quite a few police on the freeway, and I think they're trying to make their presence known. But
Definitely making their presence known.
yeah. As he jumps right back up and cuts nicely on that 3, but gets caught up on the 7. I think he was hoping to go all the way to the other rail there and get a line on the 4. So he'll have to change his avenue here. Looks like he was going for the carom, I think, a little bit more top, and that cue ball would have just nicked that 8 ball in and given him another shot on the 4. But that leaves Lash here. A little angle into the corner.
Did that on purpose.
Shark ball bit you again?
David has been sharked by the shark corner with the giant shark painting in the Sharky Waters set.
Big time.
Shark corner bites him on the ass there, and the 4 stays tipped out. Dom was hoping to just stop it right there, but he drifts out. He might get lucky on the Z bank, but no, just outside. But wonder what Lash is going to do here. Maybe a bank combo. And make the 7. I don't think he wanted to do that.
Just a really rare result there.
And
Gets the 9
barely
to fall.
misses the scratch, but it left him perfect on the 9, and he takes it down. Takes advantage of that, bringing him 2-0 on the match here.
Well, that's a clutch win for Dave to prove that he's here to compete. And I gotta say, I gotta divulge a little backstage information. Before we turned the cameras on, there was some heated competition building up from Dave's end, or he was really letting Dom know that he's gonna bring his A game tonight.
Well, Lash smashed that break. Cue ball came about a foot off the table.
Hercules.
This is going to be a good one, I think. Dom,
I'll wipe it on
Try
hand
it.
sanitizer.
Did you cough?
getting Lash's head here a little bit and keep him on his toes. He's got a pretty good line on the 1 and the 2, and then see what he's going to do with that 5 ball next. I was thinking he might try and hit it and break him out a little bit, but he drifted, and I think he might be able to get that angle without hitting the 6 first.
Oh, Lord.
Oh. He just tried the bank there. He was a little bit close to the 6. I don't think he got quite the angle for the cut shot. But Dom is kind of stuck on the rail here with a bank of his own.
Shot.
Dom uses just the little cluster 6, 7, 9 ball there as an obstacle and plays a really well thought out safe. Soft touch is going to make David bust out a jump cue.
Ooh, wow, that was very close. The jump cut into the side, and it just hits off the fin and stays out. I always wonder, that first jump shot of the night must be a little bit different than the rest of the jump shots. You know, if you get multiple ones, that first one's a little bit special. You're not sure what's going to happen yet. You haven't practiced it yet for the day.
Definitely. Playing some safety options back and forth here, trying to hide behind some other balls. I like the safety battle option earlier in the game because it gives you that opportunity to like obstruct your opponent's progress, and also gives yourself an opportunity to kind of warm up to the table and warm up to your equipment and all of that type of stuff.
Yeah, try to change the momentum a little bit and put a pause on that too. And there are actually a lot of pool players out there that I've played against that get very frustrated too when they have to keep making these tough shots from getting safed over and over, and you can get in their head that way. Actually, they start playing not as well.
I think for a lot of people to feel and groove, it just takes making ball after ball after ball and getting up to close to your limit or your average or whatever, and safeties, even though they can be very, very important, don't necessarily give you that feeling.
Last year breaks out the bridge and hits down over the 9 ball to make it. And then leave himself pretty well on the 8. Give me the side pocket. Puts nice little bit of back right English so that it comes out and gives him perfect line on the 9 ball. And then he came to play tonight. So Lash is now 3rd game in a row. The match at 3-0.
You don't scare me, David.
All right, it's Dom's time
I
to
scare the shit out of myself sometimes.
slow this momentum. Break this up.
Normally when I'm trying to play defense, I'm trying to gain control of the table. Whether it's get ball in hand or improve position of the table when I come back.
Nice. He makes the 4 on the break. And I think he could cut this 1 into the side here. One corner, he's got some options. Ooh, hits just enough of that too to slow it down and give himself a cut still.
Oh, you changed the rack on me.
It had just missed.
I like it.
He would have had a tough shot, and he's commenting here that Dom switched up the magic rack on him. We have multiple magic racks hanging on the table or on the wall there, and sometimes it's a subtle shark move right there to
chinny.
switch up the magic rack and trying to get in your opponent's head a little bit. Who was that guy that used to leave the ball in the side pocket occasionally?
Old Davy Jones. No, it was Shane Van Boning.
Okay. Well, either one. I think they both did it, actually. So. He tries to put a little masse shot and get around that 7 and miss the 9 ball, but just clips it. Giving Lash ball in hand. See him sizing up that 6, 7, 9 combo, like cluster. I mean, figuring out what he's going to do with that. Coming up here. Trying to plan ahead multiple shots. That was just about the perfect speed for that shot and that leave on the 6. Here we go with the 9. Tracks into the corner. That was quite a quick game as well.
You can say that again.
That was quite a quick game as well.
You said it different the second time.
Quick game.
That was quite a quick game as well.
It's my alter ego from Australia.
Australia. Well, man, Dave's playing lights out right now.
Yeah, I think the lights all the lights are on, but yes, he is playing lights out. Had to double check and make sure. Another massive break. I love watching him break. So much power. You can see he's got like a little 3-inch insert that he puts on the butt of his cue to break with. And at some point I have to ask him exactly what that's for. I'm sure it is added weight and added length so you can kind of get a longer stroke for a harder, more power, I guess. But I'm gonna have to ask him after this game here. Almost combos the 7-ball in, leaving basically just a bank or a carom shot. He opted for the carom to try and make the 7-ball in that corner off the one. Left arm here, cut all the way down the table into the corner.
Hit it.
I think he had to put something a little funky on that, a little bit of English to make contact, and so I think it was good contact. I don't think Lash has the angle for the cut, but we'll see.
That works.
I think you can get it.
Ooh, makes the one, almost breaks out the two. That would have been
Good
gorgeous, but it was still a nice shot. Ooh. Puts a lot of back and a little bit of extra speed. And I think a little bit of right maybe to pull that 2-ball left quickly off the rail and almost made that bank shot.
Do you want to hit up Fred? He's saying,
Fred is right here. He said, text me your order. I was just about to say this. Yeah. And you have to come get it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Fred will be sending...
2 pizzas.
Yeah. We'll be sending you our order momentarily, and we'll be sending the Sharky Express over to pick it up. Similar to the Pony Express, except unlike the Pony Express, which was a man riding a horse, we will be showing up riding flying sharks.
Can we wear those dorsal fin hats too?
Definitely. Asterisk, it may just be a car.
a
Likely.
poke and a hope?
I'm thinking it almost definitely. Yeah, does
That
one
would
of
make
us
sense.
one of us have Fred's number? Can we text Fred? Eric, do you have his number?
I do not have his phone number, but I
Might have
believe,
to
I'll hit him up on
I
Facebook.
believe Dom does. Or if he's listening, we'll take 2 pizzas. You can let us know in the chat if you're listening if 2 pizzas works for you. And then we'll be stopping by on the Sharky Express after the show.
I can't remember if we can do polls. But we should take like an audience, like type up their pizza menu. Nice shot by Dave in the corner there.
What they think we should order?
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
And then in the end, we just get 2 pizzas because that's what we want. But
Yeah, I think we're going to do that.
Okay.
Fred, though, on the side, if you're listening, we're still going to take the 2 pizzas. But yes, everyone else, let's vote and see what you think we should get. I don't know what the other option is besides the pizza. There's the pig, which is 3 different forms.
we'll have to pull up the menu. Dave's just getting everything, even amidst our incessant shit talking here in the background about the delicious pizzas at the Tipsy Tomato.
Fantastic indeed.
8 in the corner. He's looking at the 9. I mean, it's just, Dave's just looking like he's really hit a stride here. And another out. That's 5-0, I believe.
You would be correct.
I thought there was a but. You would be correct, but
you're not. Today. Last week.
Are you okay? You doing all right, Eric? Feeling a little disjointed over there.
Just
5-0. David's up to break. Big strong break here is what we're expecting. He delivers a strong break, but a dry break.
That 5 and 9 didn't even move an inch. Or but an inch. Yeah, because they did move an inch, and I referenced your last joke. Witty and on point. Dom's frustrated with himself here, and he left Lash a straight in 1 into the side. With a 2 on the other end of the table, though, behind a couple balls.
Oh, Lord.
You'll get lucky.
Had to hit that one firm, try and get the leave on that 2, and that's what happens. You have to be absolutely perfect with that accuracy if you're going to hit that hard, especially into the side pocket.
Don does a good job to hike up over that 9 ball to get a clean look at the 1. Fortunately, nothing goes down, and he'll hand it back to David.
We would like you to participate and tell us about your experience.
That was a good cue ball.
We'll help us serve you better and we'll help you as soon as we possibly can. If you would like to participate, we will assist you shortly.
Missed the 4.
That was a razor thin 1 into the corner, but he exclaimed he wished he had hit that 4 ball and stopped him. Would have given him a perfect shot at that 2, but just missed, and he still made contact with the rail and then hides Dom on the other rail. I think he's got a look at it through the 7, 9, and 5.
Shot.
That was a great attempt at a safe shot and hiding those 2 at opposite ends. I think he's got eyes on this too, though.
Unfortunate result there.
Option?
Gets behind
Yeah, you can have it.
the 8 ball. Just glued. It's going to be a long and treacherous kick to make contact with the 3 here.
I need to hit it way harder. I was afraid it was just going to jump off the table and go right into the wall.
David's scratch gives Dom ball in hand. He sinks the 3 ball. Now we're looking at the 4 in the opposite corner.
He wanted that to stop shy of the 9 ball, giving him a perfect look on that 5, and it drifted just a few extra inches. Gives him a challenging shot here. Steps over and grabs his jump cue. Looks like that's the best option. It's a pretty relatively straight shot here on the 5 after the jump, but not an easy shot.
Good try, Dom.
It was a long stretch he had to make in order to do that. Even for Dom, he can basically reach across this whole table, and that was in one of the most awkward places for a jump shot. Great attempt, though. He kept a foot on the floor.
I was waiting for you to call house rules and just get up on the table and
Yeah, right.
Made a good effort
Like
at it,
buffaloes.
but missed.
Yeah.
And gave Lash. Shot on the 5 here. Makes it no problem and drifts up with perfect speed onto the 6. Again, drifts it out just enough to make that 7 and give himself a lead for the next one. He does just that. Cleans up the 8. Cue ball didn't go exactly where he wanted. He's got left it in the middle with the 9. But it's just a cut shot here into a corner. Yeah, those shots are always scary when they're straight on like that for that exact reason of
House rule here, we are going to have to shoot every shot, so Dom will spot up the 9 ball and get ball in hand.
you can miss the ball in hand, right?
Pressure.
Shout out to Jordan.
Chalk on the
Right?
table.
Jordan, or is that Jordan's rule?
Is it Jordan's rule?
Whose rule is this?
It is Jordan's rule.
Yeah.
It's been adopted.
It's been a dump.
Well, that'll put Dom on the board.
Finally.
Lash over there trying his
There went the
hardest
only-
to
The
move
7-0
Dom's
club.
marker over for him for that one win, but he needed to get on the tippy toes.
Is there who's in the 7-0 club?
Me. I'm the only one who's done a 7-0 shark attack.
Dom's
I
the
got
only
one
one.
against Damien, 2 against James.
How many did you get against me?
Not very many.
Oh, wait, we have to use a magic rack. Damn it. We haven't used this one yet, right? Try this one.
We have not used the
4?
black and white one,
I don't
no.
know. You smoked me, Eric. You smoked me. That was back before I learned how to hold my feelings on the show.
Don't worry, I still
Proud of
feel
my
like
boy,
there
Dom.
might be a piece of chalk thrown at me.
Probably. Here we go. Dom takes advantage of
Talk
that.
about getting all the
His
rolls.
first break I don't know if you guys saw that. We had the perfect angle for that, I think. The cue ball
That
came
was
up off the table,
insane.
hit a rail around into the pocket, corner pocket, around the other rail, and down back onto the table.
And gave him a pretty...
He smashed it too. I thought he was going to go for a cut there down the rail, but
Same.
opts for a bank, but just barely misses it. It was a good attempt.
That was a weird break, wasn't it?
That was quite a strange break.
I don't want to ever hear that you get all the rolls. Or I get all the
I don't
rolls
get any
again.
rolls. I definitely got one on that one.
Are those pockets regulation? Or they like grip onto the cue ball somehow? Pull it back in.
Yeah, it went around the pocket.
Yeah, that was very, very cool.
Well, Dom tries to hit a ball into a pocket and with another ball, and unfortunately, the ball that he wanted to not go into a pocket was the one that went into a pocket. The game of pool, we call that a scratch.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
That means that Dave will get to take the ball in his hand and put it wherever he wants.
Yes. He's opting to use his cue a little bit to find that perfect spot. Makes the one no problem here.
I always wondered like where the cutoff is between ball in hand as David combos the 9 ball with the 2 to take his 6th victory now. I've always wondered where the cutoff is because people use their cue to move the ball, but at some point you are shooting your shot.
I think it's
Once
the tip
you
and ferrule.
address the ball as a shot.
Here we go.
Say this again, David.
So once you address the ball, you have it placed, and if you get down to do like aim over the ball like you're shooting the shot, you can't do that again.
I see.
Okay.
There you have it.
Yeah. So, but you can use the tip of your cue to move it around until
I mean,
that
you're not
point?
supposed to.
Okay, that's what.
It's
Okay,
supposed to be the ferrule,
Just the tip.
but it doesn't get called that often.
Yeah, more difficult than you might think. Anyone who hasn't tried it should give it a shot and see what they think on that.
Let us know in the comments.
Please.
Yeah, big old break from David Lash.
Howdy, folks.
I couldn't think of a funny follow-up. I didn't think it was going to get that reaction, man.
Your backup was like
Good shot, Dom.
Dom gets the
Out of
1
the
to fall
Parker.
in the corner.
I'm still
Looking
trying
at
to
the
figure out
2,
what
but the
happened.
4 is
in the way. I think.
obstructing things
It
a little
wasn't
bit.
like a hi-ya.
No.
Yeah, it was a
It was
hya.
more like,
It was
like a giddy up.
Yeah, like a
giddy
horse.
up.
Like
Yeah.
you would say to a horse, hya.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Here we go,
I'm
everybody.
just thinking, like, what context would you, when someone breaks the balls, go, giddy up? It's like the same expression, though, when you say
Similar.
"Yeah."
I mean, it means basically the same thing.
That's what I mean,
But
why
I
is
don't
one
know if
not
it-
weird and the other one weird?
Just from lack of use, maybe. So we're gonna start giddy up and see if it starts feeling comfortable
Giddy
after a
up.
while, and then we'll get back to you folks.
As a
Damn it.
Social
as a
experiment.
mid-break
I feel like
phrase
that's something
that
that
you
would
say
be
to
said,
yourself.
like if you were playing Red Dead. Was it Red Dead Redemption?
Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've watched a lot of that game being played before.
Great shot on that too, and the perfect speed in English for the leave on the 3. Whole lot of draw on that. Just looks off the 9, giving him a good leave on the 4.
Yeah. See, it doesn't work. It's not the
No,
same
that's
effect.
Perfect. You got the perfect shape. Exactly.
I think it's more of a break. I think you say when you're breaking.
Yeah, like a power. There's every once in a while, if I really hit a golf ball well, I'll give it a hooga just to mess with my friends.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's classic. Hoga is like the cartoon car horn sound, or like that the wolf would make at the nightclub when he was like ogling over the like super hot girl singer.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
Oogly-eyed.
on that note, this has been a fantastic game between these two players. Two guys with a lot of great rivalry between them and an even better friendship. Fist bump at the M. You can't be mad at that. Both guys played great. Dom unfortunately had a few untimely mistakes.
I did not play great.
I got lucky a couple times early.
Yeah, you did.
David got out, absolutely got out to like a strong
I want
start.
Dom to wreck.
Well,
Wait, maybe
well-
not right now.
Don, while I say you didn't play great offense, you did play great with your intellect and your emotion, apart from one time when after it was like a couple of mistakes in a row where you showed some signs of frustration. On the whole, you kept it together, and that's something that we strive for a lot here on Sharky Waters, and something that you've definitely come a long way at with your game, man. So very proud.
Am I turned on?
To see you. You are turned on.
Jesus, I said that out loud. You guys heard that? God damn it. I normally don't do that especially on air, but we're all under a little more stresses. And like I said before, at the end of the open swim, this is our opportunity to take a load off. I like to do a lot of work. I'm tired, and not that that's an excuse, but it's a statement of my excitement to do my own, embracing of the downtime and family time. Hope everybody is enjoying themselves in their quarantines.
Did somebody get racking lessons?
Taking some time to let the people you care about know that you care about them. Now's a great time to do that. Well,
totally. I've gotten a lot of calls from people, and I've also been making a lot of calls to people. If there's those people in your heads that are like, oh, I should call that guy. Call that fucking guy.
Give him a call.
Shoot him a call. Ask him how he's doing. Tell him that you love him, and tell him that everything's going to be okay.
Absolutely. David, are you ready? Can I explain the rules real quick, and then we'll get off to it? This is
Did you put your money in the jar?
I did.
So this is the moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen and non-binaries. This is the Clean Slate Pool Tables break pot. We got over $300 in that treasure chest that's inside another treasure chest. David Lash has just dropped his $10 in the treasure chest that's inside another treasure chest, and now he has one shot, no errors, to get all the way through this 9-ball rack. Combos are cool, caroms are cool, lucky shots are all good. If you get that 9-ball to fall, you're taking home that cash.
I get all of it?
You think you got what you get 90% of it.
90%? Does the other 10% go to the inner council?
No,
the other 10% goes back into the break pot.
Okay.
You ready to rock?
I'll give it a try.
Here he goes. Big strong break.
Giddy up.
Wow. Dry break.
Look at that rack. Gorgeous rack.
Great spread.
Beautiful spread, but
nothing falls.
What do you mean?
That now brings the break pot to $330.
$330.
Thank you, David Lash, for your contribution.
No problem.
As I think about what you focus on most is what you manifest, I just want to point out that, David, I know that you're focusing really hard on that break pot, man. You've been talking about that for several weeks. But sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. Everybody, thanks for joining us. Thanks for watching the show. Thanks for the shares and the likes. Thanks for the sponsorships. Fred at the Tipsy Tomato. We got those pizzas on the way. We're going to go pick them up. Thanks for that. Harold Prine. I didn't do the win today, but I did get some shooting in. I'm looking forward to getting a lot more shooting and practicing in. So thanks for the pool cue. Harold Prine with PrineCustomCues.com. And then Clean Slate Pool Tables, that's me. If you're looking forward to doing your quarantines with your pool table and want to get a little facelift on that stuff, give me a call and we can talk about the options that you'll have either now or in the future. Future guests that we have lined up, but we need to correspond with and make sure that they are available through the Rapture is Mike Ottomani, Debbie Welfringer, Jeff Jerome, Torbjorn, I think. We're going to have him on, and we're going to have Eric on another episode too, I'm sure. Everybody, thanks again for the shares, all of that stuff. I know we said that stuff, but I want to thank you again on that. It's important to me that you guys are sharing what we're doing because we feel like what is best about this game is not only the beauty of the competition, but the people that share that competition in the middle. Inside of that is also the same space that we share conversation. That's also the same place that we share comfort. And that's also the same place that we share friendship and family. And so with all of that in mind, love your friends, love your family, keep up with your practicing if you're in a position to do so. If you are, acknowledge your privilege. And if you're not, share that with your friends and your families at a safe distance and space. Wash your balls, practice your drills, and remember, perfect practice makes perfect performance. Enjoy. Peace.
Peace, guys. Let's try.